So, and that would have
It
come.
was
from
slick yesterday.
Okay, so let me. Let me go.
But it's supposed to get east today, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the radio said.
No, just once it leaves here, we'll all be,
Right, exactly.
I don't wish this on anybody else either, quite honestly.
Did North Union get out of school early yesterday? I thought they said.
Yeah,
Look.
they let them out yesterday.
Turning to be a bus driver, I'm sure. First snow when
Right.
paying attention.
Gotta talk back to it now. Saying good morning.
Good morning.
Both of them.
Those aren't on Kyle.
Yeah, I just got mine started quick.
That means those are on then, right?
No, they aren't
I
on
just
yet.
turned, I flipped it on.
Oh, that back road or. Better watch it. I think you're moving. So my wife says, she says, come home, you see, two huge trucks, they just go. One right by the, the Hannah corner section. Right alongside the rail, you can't see it unless you go around there. Huge buck, somebody nipped the antlers off. So that must have hit it when they cut the antlers off.
Morning.
Good morning.
Gary, how are you?
Conservation claims are in. They're all in the-
Right by me. Where's that at? You know, where I farm, in order to.
Oh, yes. Our roads farm removed.
Yeah, figured that. Thanks, Greg.
They dug it up, there's no water. Yes, it's. Size.
Go ahead, it's half a minute. It is 8 o'clock. Let's stand and do the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Public discussion. Seeing none. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda and minutes dated November 1st?
So moved.
Motion by Stecker. Second by Plath. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. 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 Opposed? Motion carried unanimous. Take a minute, everybody, to review the claims if you haven't done so yet. Any discussion on the claims?
Yeah, the one for the supervisors, I want my name taken off of that idles. There's no sense in me going to a meeting on December 10th when I'm out January 2. I ain't wasting taxpayers' money. Take my name off it.
Mine also.
March, right?
Yeah, Marge made them.
Okay, so I will.
I talked to Brittany yesterday. She said she hadn't mailed the check yet.
Yeah.
We were supposed to let her know by today whether we were going or not. You tell her, or you want us to tell
No.
For me?
her? Are you for open discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to follow up to see if our motion to intervene was filed in a timely fashion. Because on the IUB site, anyone that wanted to participate in the oral arguments had to file a brief by November 10th. And my understanding, I wasn't at the meeting when we voted. But my understanding is the motion was made to hire Tim Whipple.
Correct.
To take care of all that, so just wanted to update, make sure that got done.
We didn't get included in the brief, but we get included in the petition to intervene. Yeah, I was thinking of that word. Yeah. So we are included in the intervene portion.
Well, as of Friday, when you checked on the site, Kossuth County was not listed.
Be filing the motion to intervene.
Pardon me,
I believe he'll be filing the motion to intervene this week.
but he won't be able to go in front of the board and do an oral argument with the county, correct, since the deadline was missed?
No, that deadline was for a briefing, not for the intervene. There is no deadline for a motion to intervene.
So what would the briefing be or what? I mean,
Well, if you want to participate in oral arguments in front of the IUB board, it had to be filed by November 10th. That's right from their website.
But he did file a petition to intervene, so I don't know if your name had to be on it or not.
So what about the ordinance part of it?
He's gonna write the ordinance.
He's gonna take care of that for us?
Yes.
Did he give you any kind of time frame?
sooner the better, I imagine.
Right, yeah, time is definitely of the essence. That's all I was wondering.
Okay.
So when 2 weeks ago, we made that decision to do it by the 10th. We did or didn't get in what we needed to get in.
I think we got
Because
it.
we made that decision
Right,
pretty quickly because we wanted to get it.
Yeah.
Since we didn't have a meeting on the 8th to make sure we got it on the 10th.
We are going to intervene.
Okay.
That's the main part of it.
Well, and that's, I was kind of curious about that with the emails from Tammy the other day with that stuff. I looked over, there was a typo on Sway City, but otherwise the rest I didn't do. It was just kind of legal stuff, but, if that hadn't been filed, I mean, that's well after the 10th, so I don't know if that fits the timeline or not.
When I talked to Mr. Whipple yesterday, he said there's no deadline for motion to intervene. There is not one. So that will be filed this week. He will be representing Kossuth County for the motion to intervene and will be representing them in December. So that has not changed.
Cause that other thing you told me yesterday, that was for
It was a brief for, yeah, I don't, my chairman actually don't know what that means, but, so that our name is not on that, but he will still be representing us for the motion to intervene and speaking on our behalf for that, as well as drawing up the word.
So we have a voice.
Okay, well, we as landowners can't talk to Tim. He'll only speak to an elected county official. And so, you know, we kind of gotta help you guys for information. And it's like anything else, this week gets grease, so if somebody wants to keep chirping in his ear about that ordinance, so he doesn't drop the ball. Greatly appreciate it.
There is a lawyer in Spirit Lake that'll write a letter free. They'll write a letter free to that.
You guys already did that. You guys already.
We already did that.
Yeah, are you
No,
just
I
talking?
don't know.
For private landowners.
Oh.
that-
Wow.
Thank you, that's all I was.
Okay.
wanted to follow up.
I have a motion to approve the claims and conservation claims and election claims.
So moved.
Motion by Stecker. Second by, I'll second it. Any discussion on the claims? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. These are all payroll. Got 2 weeks. Somebody thought we needed an election. No monthly update from the secondary road foreman, so we will go to the Kossuth Regional Health Center monthly update.
Good morning, and thank you for adjusting the schedule. Probably the snowiest weather so far this year. If we're lucky, it'll be the last, right? So, I'll go through the finances and then I'll go through.
Yeah, as you can see, from some of the reports that were provided, we're really starting off the year strong, all a little better than expected. We're posting an operating income so far this year. A large piece of that is, like I talked about last month, due to our patient volumes on the third floor. It's really a mixed bag of what we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of RSV, but it's not a lot on our third floor. It's mostly in our respiratory care clinics, so that's been good that we're able to treat those and they aren't going to that point where they have to be up on our third floor. And our clinic revenues are usually high the first couple months of the year due to different patients needing to get their wellnesses in before their insurance deadlines. Everyone waits until right up until the deadline to get theirs done for their health insurance. Looking ahead for what we expected for our budget to eventually see an operating loss for the fiscal year, is really due to the wage increases that we know that that we will need to continue to give here at the start of the calendar year. The market is really changing all the time, and we definitely have to stay aggressive to keep our staff all intact. So we haven't quite seen that data yet, but we're working through that and knowing that we might see a significant adjustment again. And any questions on the finding?
Those Colette mentioned, we're seeing a number of pediatric viral illnesses right now, especially in the outpatient area. And seeing some of those kids be hospitalized, but that's on an outpatient basis. That is consistent with, I think, what's happening. Certainly something there's currently a significant deaths across. So, pediatric death. As a result of that, when you reflect on that, the hospital found the purpose of an additional vape. So vape will serve as a piece of equipment that really manages respiratory in adults and kids. So something will be. We have 2 sites, but we'll add it in. So thanks to the foundation for that. As far as our foundation goes, they just had the most successful ever legacy ball. And each year it just seems to be getting better and better. And then so good turnout by that, and a great turnout. Yeah. That Mark Davis was recognized as the legacy. Year. Which is pretty exciting. He's a legend to us, for sure. Those of us who have worked. We're actively working on recruitment. We're looking at recruiting an additional physician to replace Dr. E. Jansen. And I shouldn't say retired, but left the practice to care for her children at home this year. So we're actively looking to replace her. Looking for some additional medical providers to help support the emergency department. So we're finalizing the plans to replace the maintenance shed. We might fire this last summer. And we were just noticed that we notified that we were recognized by the Chartist Group, which is an independent group that mines data for hospitals. We placed in the top 50% percentile of the title. That's a really significant achievement in the first time ever that can be recognized. We do. Right now, questions you got?
You've got all your stuff replaced that you lost in the fire?
But we're working on it slowly, slowly but surely. Some of the things just simply aren't available, and some of them, quite honestly, we have to store it right now. I do want to call out, guys, you've been really extremely supportive and generous in terms of letting us store things. So that's been without until we actually have it. But some of the things, I think our vehicles are pretty much restored now. That one that we haven't replaced yet, and we're really evaluating. It's one thing that give away to know what these things. So
It's gonna snow.
I hear that. Right, well, I don't know.
We thought maybe we'd go a winter without it.
I know. I was hoping
Save all
maybe
that
just a
money.
week back when
Yeah.
just a week. Questions?
People keep getting born yet out there.
They do.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Those are the people who will care for us.
You better take good care of them.
We do.
Good.
Freedom centers.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Yes, great day.
The other one. Dan.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning,
Morning.
Dan.
Dan?
Give you the latest update here in my world. Month of October was pretty busy, 41 calls, a lot of messages, had over 70 between coming in on email and, snail mail. 48 walk-ins, 26 appointments, we repaired 2 hearing aid sets, did 3 military funeral honors, and, was out of the office 11 days, but that was primarily because of my conference, down in Des Moines. Currently, with VA, I've got 29 open claims. I've got 13 that I'm developing, and I have 8 that are ready for decision by VA. I'm continuing with the VA healthcare enrollments, especially focusing on the post 9/11 veterans due to the PACT Act changes. Working again with the commissioners, and I talked with them here last week at our Thursday meeting. We're going to continue to develop a cost analysis for an agenda item in the future, proposing to go from 3 commissioners to 5 commissioners. So I'm still developing that. I completed the suicide prevention training of question, refer, and persuade. That was also offered by the VA. I completed a briefing by the Camp Lejeune changes that came out with those presumptive conditions by the national headquarters service officers, the legal department, because there are those who, if they do file a civil lawsuit for a condition resulting from Camp Lejeune, and they're also getting paid for the same thing from VA, that will affect their benefits. So I needed to make sure that squared away on that. With the increased in COLA and Social Security, those veterans that are receiving disability compensation can expect to receive an increase in their compensation between $100 to $130 typically. So that'll go up as the cost of everything. We also was involved with a celebration of life for Officer Terry Fraley, a former officer of the police department, participated in that. Tomorrow, weather permitting, I've got some pension training over in Clarion with the district president and the rest of our district team. Review changes there. Big picture, long range, working with the Iowa leadership team of my state association. Couple of things that I'm kind of voicing and wanting to try and see if we can impact on. One is the Iowa code as it pertains to the Department of Veterans Affairs at the county level. The other thing is, and I don't know, I've got to talk to my leadership on it, but I would like to see a statewide standardized training program. We have 60% turnover rate in the state. We lack a standardized training program and integration mentorship program for new VSOs that come into this discipline. And with that, would also like to have a standardized software program for taking care of those database of records that are absolutely vital in submitting the claims to VA. Right now, there's like 3 or 4 different programs. What I'd like to do is model the state after what other states have done, where they have a standardized training program, have a standardized software program, and if a veteran from Kossuth County goes down to Polk County, I transfer the record, but everything is integrated and seamless. So there's no disparage about level of services, level of the veteran getting taken care of. It's standardized. Kind of a big chunk to chew on, but gonna try that with the new commandant at IDBA once I get a chance to meet him. Lastly, I'm in the last 30 days of my free trial for Vet Pro, since I'm converting over from Vetrospec. I've been in touch with the onboard team and the software development team. I've sent them several things that I think need improvement with the program. One of the things that I will do is give them an executive summary of my feedback the last 90 days, and then contingent upon completely converting over, there would be some must-haves as far as the reporting. The reporting feature in VetPro could stand to be improved significantly with respect to those types of awards that were granted in a month, 6 months to a year, to see what that looks like. So those are just some of the things that I'm working on. We had a full plate here month of November as well. Again, I want to thank you for Operation Greenlight. I got a lot of good feedback from that. Helped participate a little bit with the Moving Veterans Forward radio telethon somewhat. Did not make it up to the Hunting for Heroes, but I was told another blowout. A lot of people took advantage of that, a lot of veterans. Subject to your questions, that's all I have at this point.
Any questions for Dan?
If not, you know where my office is at.
Yep,
Come
thanks,
on
Dan.
over.
Appreciate it.
All right,
Thanks, Dan.
thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
See you, Dan. We're up to canvas general election that was held on November 8th. Review the abstract of the vote.
Is it okay if we track and then you guys approve or deny them?
Yes.
So, United States Senator Michael Franken, Democrat, 1,925 votes. Chuck Grassley, Representative, 4,781 votes, scattering of 9 votes, for a total of 6,715 votes. United States Representative, District 4, Brian Melton, Democrat, 1,668 votes. Randy Feenstra, Republican, 4,864 votes. Brian Jack Holder, 99 votes, a scattering of 2 votes for a total of 6,633 votes. Governor and Lieutenant Governor, Deidre DeJear and Eric Van Lacker, Democrat, 1,592 votes. Kim Reynolds and Adam Gregg, Representatives, or Republicans, 5,030 votes. Rick Stewart and Marco, I don't know how to say that name, sorry. 113 votes and a scattering of 1 vote for a total of 6,736 votes. Secretary of State Joel Miller, Democrat, 1,685 votes. Paul Pate, Republican, 4,977 votes, a scattering of 1 vote for a total of 6,663 votes. Auditor of State Rob Sand, Democrat, 2,359 votes. Todd Halber, Republican, 4,256 votes. 0 scattering for a total of 6,615 votes. Treasurer of State, Michael Fitzgerald, Democrat, 2,424 votes. Robbie Smith, Republican, 4,211 votes. 2 scattering for a total of 6,637 votes. Secretary of Agriculture, John Norwood, Democrat, 1,358 votes. Mike Nag, Republican, 5,329 votes, a scattering of 1 vote for a total of 6,688 votes. Attorney General Tom Miller, Democrat, 2,367 votes. Brenna Bird, Republican, 4,294 votes, a scattering of 4 votes for a total of 6,665 votes. State Senator District 5, Dave Rowley, Republican, 5,498 votes for a scattering of 86 votes for a total of 5,584 votes. State Representative District 9, Joseph Tillman, Democrat, 1,553 votes. Henry Stone, Republican, 3,616 votes. 0 scattering votes for a total of 5,169 votes. State Representative District 10, John Wills, Republican, 1,070 votes. Dan Wall, 203 votes, a scattering of 2 votes for a total of 1,275 votes. Constitutional Amendment 1, yes votes 5,178, no votes 1,337, for a total of 6,515 votes. Supreme Court Justice Matthew McDermott, yes votes 3,973 votes, no votes, 1,309, for a total of 5,282 votes. Supreme Court Justice Dana Oxley, yes, 3,700 votes, no, 1,456 votes, for a total of 5,156 votes. Court of Appeals Judge Paul Ehlers, yes, 3,951 votes, no, 1,216 votes, for a total of 5,107 votes. Court of Appeals Judge Gina Batting, yes, 3,806 votes, no, 1,263 votes, for a total of 5,069 votes. District 3A Judge Shane Mayer, yes, 3,866 votes, no, 1,156 votes, for a total of 5,022 votes. District 3A Judge John M. Sandy, yes, 3,948 votes, no, 1,168 votes, for a total of 5,116 votes. District 3A Associate Judge Shauna Bitsworth, yes, 4,001 votes, no, 1,099 votes, for a total of 5,100 votes. District 3A Associate Judge Ann M. Gales, yes, 4,502 votes, no, 1,010 votes, for a total of 5,512 votes. County Board of Supervisors, District 1, Galen Casey, Democrat, 529 votes, Carter Nath, Republican, 930 votes, scattering of 0 votes, for a total of 1,459 votes. County Board of Supervisors, District 3, Donnie Loss, Democrat, 610 votes, Joshua Wachter, Republican, 730 votes, 0 scattering, for a total of 1,340. County Board of Supervisors, District 4, Kyle Stecker, Republican, 1,075 votes, a scattering of 71 votes, for a total of 1,146 votes. County Treasurer Nick Graham, Democrat, 5,554 votes, scattering of 96 votes, for a total of 5,650 votes. County Recorder Karen Benschooner, Republican, 6,060 votes, a scattering of 46 votes, for a total of 6,106 votes. County Attorney Todd Holmes, Democrat, 5,201 votes, scattering of 179 votes, for a total of 5,380 votes. County Hospital Board of Trustees, Greg Penning, 4,822 votes, Brenda Borman, 4,922 votes, Conley Nelson, 4,301 votes, a scattering of 43 votes, for a total of 14,088 votes. This one, there was to vote for 5, and there was only 4, so one of the scatterings will be the 5th member if she accepts it. Soil and Water Conservation, no, I'm sorry, this is for Soil and Water. Ignore that last comment. Soil and Water Conservation District Commissioner Nancy Boyle-Borman, 4,716 votes. Luke Snyder, 4,417 votes, scattering of 18 votes, for a total of 9,151 votes. County Agriculture Extension Council member, this is where the race that there was 5 openings and only 4 people ran. Brad Busher received 4,540 votes, Julie Larson, 4,204 votes, Troy Daniel Kane, 3,881 votes, Charles Borman, 4,364 votes, a scattering of 197 votes, Bill Divis, 17 votes, for a total of 17,203 votes. Bill Divis did take the most votes for that 5th position, so if he accepts, he will be the 5th member. And Public Measure KA, yes, 4,153 votes, no, 2,401 votes, for a total of 6,554 votes, which declares Public Measure KA to be adopted.
Usually sign all these before we approve it. Is that all right with the rest of the board? Or do we approve? Okay. So, I have a motion to approve the abstract vote for November 8th, 2020 general election. So moved. Motion by Platt. I'll second his motion. All those in, I'll do a roll call vote.
Stecker,
Yes.
Casey,
Yes.
Lost,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Stark.
Motion carries unanimous.
Full set, so.
Pass them down. We'll let them pile up under there.
They get out of order, doesn't matter.
That's no, that's.
Ready for another general one? We'll put a gap in. Pile up. Think so.
Grab this time. That one, just the top, and the next one. Just the first page, not those.
Just the first page, right? Just planting there. Two sign.
Just the front on this.
Sorted out. Next on the agenda. Approval of liquor license for Billy D's Bar and Grill. Anybody want to make a motion to approve liquor license? Motion by Plath. I have a second.
I'll second it.
Second by Loss. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Can we move the purchasing limit down right before we do Doug's, so we can be here? Anybody have objections to moving that around?
Commissioner too.
We'll go to the annual approval of the weed commissioners report. You have it in your iPads.
Sir.
Good. Was it a busy year, Aaron?
Not terrible. It wasn't as bad as what I thought it was gonna be, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, good or bad, nobody was calling in but, yeah, I mean, pretty much everything I had, I just make a phone call. It sometimes took a couple days to hear back from somebody, but they'd call back in and either they were gonna get on it or they had intentions of getting on it. The weather wasn't working out. I mean, I know a couple times a couple guys were gonna get stuff sprayed and it was getting hot and dry and it was gonna be tough to get good control. Hot and dry as it was there, once in a while we had the odd rain, caught them in there. Hadn't made it back out since that rain.
Sometimes the pasture ground is a little hard too.
Yeah, and that was one pasture that, I didn't get a complaint on. I just saw it, happened to see it driving down the road and, with creek winds through there and everything, and it was tough to get in and just to get control on it, and they ended up having somebody fly on, and yeah, so. And then they went out afterward. You know, they chopped a bunch down once they were good and dead, and I know they said it was tough for them to get out there because it was sketchy enough. They didn't trust a hired man to do it, and they wanted to do it themselves, so if something happened, you know, but. And everything, and I go back out afterwards, you know, given time, a couple of them were fields, some organic fields, where they're walkers, their crews hadn't quite gotten their time. It looked really bad, but every time after they were there, for everything was significant improvement, so.
So you
We'll
think
never
the-
get rid of 100% of the weeds.
No, yeah,
Do you think thistles are a problem, huh? Certain years has found the problem in my county, bull thistle and Canada thistle.
well, yeah, and I know planting weed on that one should have been real.
I was gonna say, there's more buttonweeds out there than thistles. it sounds
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, that was I know I forgot that one in there, but. And I mean, yeah, I'm sure there's other weeds out there that are more problematic in spots, but I mean. I can't guarantee it's every single weed patch. I mean. So,
I think giant ragweed's getting to be a problem and just
yeah,
in fence lines.
fence lines, yards.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's not a noxious weed yet, though.
no, that's not that I could see, and I
Yeah.
couldn't find another name for anything that it fell under. I mean,
Unless anybody else thinks it is, I've not read that, so.
yeah,
Spray your fill around it, when it hits the fence row, it kills everything, kills your grass, so then you got weeds come.
yeah.
Anything else for Aaron?
So, good job this summer.
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a
There's
motion to
anything that-
approve then, Mr. Casey?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a motion by Casey to approve. Do I have a second? Second by Stecker. Any more discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thanks, Aaron.
Dude,
Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
We have some transfers made by our auditor. Take a minute to look at the transfers, please.
We'll be ready in a couple minutes, Doug.
Anybody have any questions on the transfers? Good. Have the record show that we acknowledge the transfers made by the auditor? Doug, comment?
Thank you.
Morning, Doug.
Good morning, Doug. We are up to Mr. Stecker's agenda item. Limiting purchases per department without supervisor's approval of $5,000. I think you put it on the agenda, Mr. Stecker.
Yeah, I brought it up when we talked about the claims last time. I know there was discussion about repairs and stuff like that, but I guess the item specifically last meeting was not a everyday repair, it was something I believe that would have been planned out, is that correct? Doug?
It was a replacement. We had a power washer.
Was that something that came up suddenly?
I don't know, it wasn't said.
But yeah, that was kind of my point, is we have a rule that everyone's supposed to follow, and put it up for discussion, I guess.
If you're not saying like if he needs plates for the grader, he's gotta come to the board every time.
No, it's
All
not.
this stuff, this,
It's
that's general maintenance.
yeah, and that says 5,000 per item, so they're not $5,000 a blade.
Those cheap ones,
The bits, but didn't we have like 80 or 100 of them?
I mean, they're only like,
The repicks,
yeah, we put
yeah,
on
they were
3, 4, 5,
a little bit over $5,000.
they work. Good, I've seen them do it. You asked us about those, if I recall, man.
I don't know if I asked, I said we were purchasing it. I believe in it.
Kinda like the trucks, you don't ask, you just get quotes and then we okay them.
The agenda item says $5,000 purchasing limit per department without supervisor's approval. So you have to make a motion for that, or
No, we already made a motion the first meeting of the year. I didn't have an issue with that.
What done there?
I wanted to discuss the purchase for the power washer in specific that I had recently brought up doesn't really fall in that, under those rules.
What was the motion?
motion on our agenda is to review $5,000 purchasing limit per department without supervisor's approval. So if it's something to do with the power washer, you're gonna have to make a separate agenda item and put it on the agenda.
It would have been from the January 3rd meeting. I will find exactly what it says. Motion by Casey, second by Loss, to approve the spending limit for any one item of $5,000 for elected officials and department heads. Prior authorization from the board of supervisors will be needed if the dollar amount is above $5,000. Is the language in the minutes from January 3rd.
Placing something, ain't like just going out and buying, you know, like if we don't have something, I'm getting that, then he just goes out and buys, he should ask us, but if his, we already had one and it broke, replacing that part. You know, if it's something I'm getting at, if something's new, that's something we don't have totally. Because in my eyes, yeah, you should ask us, but if you're just replacing something that broke,
But I mean, Derek comes in for software when our term of 3 years or whatever is up. I mean, it's not like we're gonna run the county without our computer software. It gets approved and moves on.
Now, I don't think we approve every purchase and repair item for the road department.
That was my point.
Don't think it's feasible to have a meeting every time Doug has to spend $5,000 to fix something.
you know.
We didn't talk about repairs, or I didn't say that specifically. It was more planned purchases.
Some of the repairs are planned purchases. You're kind of getting into a gray area here where overseeing something that we approved in the budget to begin with. Make a motion on something or?
No, I don't.
So I guess my advance, he replaced it. I don't see nothing wrong with it. He's just gonna go out and buy something, it's over 5. Yeah, you should talk to us.
What do you want the record to reflect?
The record already has what I had just read off.
Yes, my opinion is next time it comes up with a claim should be denied then or something, if that's the way it really reads.
I guess for today, I'd say no action then, not hearing anything.
Let the record show that no action was taken.
May I just make a couple statements,
Yes.
please? A $5,000 limit in the secondary road department. And one item is would be very difficult. I would ask if that's gonna be the case, if the board meet more often than once a week. One item that can be interpreted a lot of ways. But we have software ourselves, drafting software that we renew. And I think the last time we renewed it, it was $15,000. We have survey equipment. When we need new survey equipment, that sometimes takes more than $5,000. $5,000 in a $10 million budget, that's 0.05%. That makes it very difficult. And I don't know if you're talking about construction claims, road right-of-way purchases, outside labor, equipment rental. Sometimes we don't know what equipment rental is going to be until done with the machine. There's also extra work sometimes that needs to be done. Right now, got ready gravel. They're moving some dirt, extra work down there on the McGuire pit. There's situations that decisions have to be made. And if it's got to be on the board's agenda this last time, I think the holiday on Friday, it came out on Thursday afternoon. If we needed to make a decision, it wouldn't be till next Tuesday. Could delay a few things. So I would hope that the board would have enough trust in me, the secondary road department, that doing the right thing. Thank you.
Discussion and approval, construction in the right of way.
There is no request.
Nothing in zoning.
No, there's not. Zoning. We can discuss a few things, I guess. Secondary road department.
Thank you.
The Irvington Bridge, they had planned on pouring it today with the weather, the way it's forecasted, they postponed that. Up on the four-way bridge, box culvert, that is complete now. We are watching it, making sure that it gets maintained. Resurfacing is completed to the point where all there's left is stop bars to be marked. This is being called the Becker Bridge up by Lakota now. Section 11, Lincoln Townships, they've got 2 pile vents driven and riprap placed on the north end. They're gonna be placing riprap on the south end. Gravel crushing is complete. Reddings is now replacing some strip material against the toe of the area that was mined to keep that road stable there. Ledyard Wind Power, they are reclaiming. They are attempting to finish by Thanksgiving. We took over blading the roads last week, getting those in shape for snow. Kossuth Wind Energy, the very same thing. They're hoping to be done by Thanksgiving. We have open positions in the mechanic shop. Laverne, we had a resignation. We had an interview on that. Lone Rock, we had resignation, and we are interviewing for that position. Titanca, I have 2 employees that retired from the Titanca shop in the last week. So we're gonna be effective December 2, be down 2 employees in Titanca. Transfer station operator position. I'm in the process of getting interviews going on that. Transfer station manager. I've been visiting with Dustin Hanson, and I'd like to put that on the agenda to appoint Dustin, the manager of the transfer station, next week. So I'll put that on for the board. Snow removal ordinance. I did put that in your electronic folder. I don't, if you want a paper copy quick, we will go over that ordinance. All right, this ordinance, it was passed, June of 2021. Purpose of the ordinance is establish the policy and level of service of maintenance for our secondary road system during the winter months. Level of service is to be implemented within the amount budgeted in our approved county budget. Kossuth County engineer or his designee shall implement removal of snow and ice on all of Kossuth County secondary roads. Each winter storm has individual characteristics and must be dealt with accordingly. It's important to realize that every storm is not the same. Kossuth County's existing snow removal equipment will be used to remove the snow. We will not necessarily have the entire width of the road surface completely clear of compacted snow, ice, or frost. And we even state in our ordinance that snow can be expected to accumulate next to the roadway and at intersections. And these accumulations will restrict visibility of motorists. We do state in our ordinance, motorists should reduce speed, drive with additional caution during poor conditions. We do not put out any additional warning or regulatory signs to warn motorists of dangerous situations due to winter weather conditions. Paved routes, they have our first priority for snow removal, followed by unpaved routes with residences. Snow may not be removed from unpaved routes designated as level B or no snow removal. Normal snow removal operations will be between 5 a.m. and 6 p.m. Snow removal equipment may be called off the road if conditions produce a hazardous working condition. It is not the policy of Kossuth County to provide a dry pavement condition. After snow has been cleared, some intersections, hills, curves, and other parts of the secondary road system may have sand or other abrasives placed on them. Kossuth County will not clear snow from private drives. Snow operations may deposit snow on private drives, and snow from private drives shall not be deposited on the roadway or shoulder. And Kossuth County will assist in emergency situations. We do prefer that the emergency situation be reported through a 911 dispatcher or the sheriff's department. So that's just a brief summary of everything. Unfortunately, we, with snow yesterday, we're out plowing today. And see what this afternoon brings, but it looks like tomorrow. I did, I think it was the beginning of last week, I got a call from Dave Burma. And he's requesting to trap some beavers that are in our Hutchins pit. The Hutchins pit right to the east of Wesley on the south side of Highway 18, evidently in our, the ponds there, the cells that we've taken gravel out of, there's some beavers in there. I am planning to just give Dave permission to do that. My thinking there, the beavers are something that not want, I'm sure Hancock County's position, and if Dave is respectful of everything and doesn't cause any problems, good to get the less desirable mammals.
Yeah, there's a large tree there on the south side of the road. It's a big one, and if it goes down, it could go, if it went north, it could go through the high line wires. And, it might, be proactive there, take the offensive and maybe, I think that'd be Hancock County,
This is on the north side of 18,
south
South.
side.
south side of 18.
They've got, it's a big tree and they've got it pretty well chewed all the way around. It could go, if it goes down, it could be
I'll take a look.
cause some damage. That one probably should be taken down, but that might be Hancock County, or is that private on the north?
We'll have to take a
South
look.
side.
There's a property line between Geis, that's still in the Geis family on the west side of our
Yeah.
pit. And on the east side, it's actually private.
Okay, well, that could be troublesome if it goes down.
Okay,
Did you see it was by the Eagles nest?
I think it's on the west side of the creek.
it's on the west side of the creek, and that's private land. Privately owned.
Would it be outside the road right away for the state?
No, probably not.
Maybe they could get it then.
And get the critters first.
I would think the Allied Energy probably would want fall under power line.
Well, yeah, especially in the middle of a storm.
Other than that, that's all that I have.
Anything else for Doug? From the board? How about the bridge, 169?
I was up there, they were getting, Fort Dodge Asphalt was supposed to be putting in asphalt, and I saw some trucks last week. Dodge Asphalt up there, and then they had guardrail to do. They were hoping November 15th today, they would have that open. However, they are removing snow on a detour route right now on that highway. I do know that. The DOT is, that's their responsibility to detour, during these types of events, so.
Can we get them to do the, landfill road? Cause there's people that come around the east there as well. That was pretty heavily traveled.
That's not part of the official detour, they're only taking.
What's the policy on, haulers?
As far as,
Dirtying up the road.
Roger? Roger and I, we
If
just,
they call us about it, we try to track down who's responsible for it.
and
whether
I
it's
try
the
to
farmer
stop
or
people as well.
The burner contractor, and then we ask them to get a loader or something to remove it. If it's deemed that it's a hazardous situation for motorists.
We try to talk with, if we can get who's doing the application.
Usually
If
what
they
we'll tell them is either you remove it now, or if we call the engineer's office, you're gonna get billed for it. And most of them will go get a loader and try to get it off of there, so.
We communicate about
Yeah.
it. Sometimes Sometimes we get called and we go out there, sometimes we call Roger to see if, our sheriff's deputy. So we work together.
Had a guy call me and he made it sound like it's, some of them you chew out and make them clean, and other ones you just take care of it and don't yell at them and make them clean it, what I was told. Depends on the hauler.
I
But you're
will-
treating them all equal, correct?
Yes. I don't know if he's talking, I just approached one there at that Penn site, and there was a deputy out there at the Penn site. Actually, we called up the wind people, the contractor, they had a blade right there, asked them to scrape it off. But I did ask him, that operator, he said, it'd be nice if you would not muddy up the road. In that situation, for some reason, where they were loading their manure tanks, first of all, they overfilled the manure tanks,
Yeah, I seen it on the road.
and it was dry, but it was the lowest point in the area that they filled the tanks, so any manure that ended up coming out of the tanks went into the field, muddy field, and then they drug it out on the road. They went out on the road, went about a half a mile, went south, turned east. Manure was actually coming out the top again, dropping on the road. Trying to think who I got water softener salt. And, whoever that pickup, wherever he was driving on the road, just, smelled terrible of manure. So I asked, I don't yell, I guess, if it's me they're talking about. It's proactive about it.
Anything else? Before we break for lunch, does anybody interested in going to Charles City? I mean, for
Lunch.
drainage, we could break for lunch. I still eat lunch at 9 in the morning.
What's in Charles City?
District 2 supervisor meeting.
What day is that?
That's usually the same day as the
That's
drainage.
It's on Friday, December 9th.
Same day as Idols, ain't it?
No, isn't that the second? Or
What's that?
the IDDA, isn't that the second?
That's the second.
Okay, so is this a week later then?
It's a week after that.
Just so I think normally it falls on the same day.
Yeah, it was
It used
discussed,
to.
it was discussed that the last one did not have it on the same day, so they must have left.
So if anybody's interested in going to the meeting on Friday, December 9th, let somebody know.
That one, brag about their county and they've done.
Anything else before we take a break for drainage? Roger, or you're here for drainage, aren't you?
No, I just stopped it.
Okay, thank you. Rod, you got anything besides drainage? Okay. Take a 15-minute break.
I wondered about that.
Driving the snow.
Did you get that? Next door.
Because otherwise, the editing to put stuff together is a nightmare, like hours.
That's a really.
Did you have issues with stuff or other stuff?
Maybe I
See the lights.
I can't tell them where.
Yeah, a lot more.
That's hard to know.
Yeah. After you buy me coffee this morning.
How you doing, Ron?
I didn't talk along. Oh, sir, it's only been 2 weeks. I mean, okay. They got a secret meeting place back here, so they go have coffee.
I can't believe you're not going back there.
I'm going back with it.
Guess who I graduated? Probably the smartest one in the class.
You have a drink?
Ah!
Oh, okay.
You never applied.
Nothing else.
You go in and not even study.
They didn't say it's going yet.
Test, so anyway.
I don't know.
Yeah, so she was.
Oh,
You look at the map,
that was weird.
you know, they,
Still wanted to go.
at the meeting, it went down.
So I just don't, until she says go, I don't care.
Yeah.
So-
She's in the car.
Here comes one, a couple of girls. 18-month-old grandkids, they won't come.
You know?
So I'll kill that, and then friends, 18 years.
March for May.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ain't that how it works?
So we got a call about 7:30. Hey, you know where Sheila's? No, they're all at their party, and we said, well, one, your granddaughter, we have 2 of ours, in Phelps is from town.
That's even.
We got the babysit, they got to go party.
Well, I came home, I was in Detroit, I went to a conference. Very interesting.
If you're looking at that's what the number one point is, they want to get home. 2 minutes before. So that's actually.
It was.
Right in the southwest corner.
Places.
I think
What's big.
West Bend comes to that.
It's just very interesting.
So,
So anyway, I keep
remember
remembering.
that, put that circle in the sand.
She's come. She knows everything.
What's your reason for it? And here's two reasons.
It's not like we're eating this morning.
Well, I figured before you started, people probably wouldn't know if I was
Right.
or not.
About 3 hours into it.
If I was, but there's seven, she probably. So we opted out.
In the work, we just get service.
So I need to get down there.
I'll go in.
Well,
Right,
yeah.
It's,
Right, well, Julie.
I'm going to take a break, make it there.
We were having a party.
Right.
Or whatever.
I think Corwood has a.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me.
I think
Oh, there's one Saturday.
Well, I think they- I don't know how
She
to.
went with this, all of us girls went up to, she had asked me. Because we all turned 60s. Julie, Kim, Sheila, me. Leanne. Leanne goes south for the, she goes to South Conroe.
Oh, okay.
Money.
Yeah.
She got a farm, didn't she?
Yeah, she, well, here's your dad.
I would guess.
Tell them her, yeah, she got. Part of the shit.
I don't know, when I came back, I said, there was nothing. Right, yes. Good for her. I always talk to January.
I don't expect it. Unless they are, or something, you know, we take your firearm or knives.
No, I want to, I still want to get there. I want to get there fast and take it slow. I can't, I've
And he
seen.
drives the motorcycle, right?
Oh, yeah. I was just like, I seen the road back to station wagon.
Well, my vacation, well, background is up in Los Angeles.
Hey, you can see it.
Right.
What?
Sue wants to go to Atlanta.
You know, when I said.
What's that vacation? It's called Disney. Vacation, right? You don't.
Atlanta. Oh, it's like out there.
And they do it at the Y, and take long for volunteers to get there first.
Oh.
Got me crazy, so I was in Philadelphia 3 times. I can take this one.
Yep.
Like, got it. The flight to Des Moines, I just leave early.
Sure.
Even if it's between, I get
Oh, yeah.
the door.
I got copies of it.
All right.
And it's the size of the country.
That's why I.
I don't,
Yeah.
I was just so mad when like, they said, well, man, you should know that you don't have.
Well, I noticed,
I paid $700.
but I like when I was seeing all the precincts, you know, the first precincts that came in,
So I stayed.
regarding EMS,
The
were
airport.
rural area,
You should know that.
outside of.
I should know that. Go
And
to
it was
the
about
place.
Stayed in the airport all
And
night.
it wasn't enough to
I
pass,
could have,
but then once I.
when I'm standing back 8 o'clock, I'm
That,
back.
that,
You just had a lot of flights with that going on. And I went to New York.
that shot straight away.
I was like, I'm not in that car. Yeah, so I just wanted to go to this desk and
There's a lot of issues.
two ladies sitting there. We're not
Their system of, budget there.
move away from the desk.
Yeah, I mean, it's always like, okay,
Walk another
It was kind of interesting to see
800
the votes coming
miles
in.
and talk to those people. Yeah, so I had time on my hands, so I stayed up on
At
my
first I was.
70 minutes.
Yeah.
They said, well, did they give you more time? Yeah, they give me more time, but I had,
Right.
the traffic's 2 hours. I mean, I wasn't missing the standby.
and you'll sleep so well.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
I'm just a taxpayer.
I slept with the housekeepers. They vacuumed and then hid strategically behind the pole. And I thought it was very interesting. They just went sleep. One was on this side, one was on that side. I'm like, yeah, you guys are so smart.
You know, the camera's just.
Come up, practice her vacuum.
Okay.
That's how they.
$15 people.
It was entertaining. Yeah, I would.
Well, it's not like our tenant, like, this is not fair. Our tenant's gonna pay this, we could pass it on to Mary, like, but.
Oh, but
We drove it one time.
people that don't know.
Well, it is, it's 50 miles across.
People that
And
don't.
I was right over the bumper too.
Yeah, 6 lanes, 8 lanes of
Yeah.
traffic. You're looking up.
Right,
and
right.
on, because
It's
it's
my
fine.
vested interest, yeah.
Right.
If I hit for 5,
I'd say
you're lane number 1.
Yeah, they'll be nice, they'll let me over.
We're going 80.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you really need a new car.
Or get an old either, they don't care if it rains.
It's that we,
On the photo.
well, maybe too. Let's go down to Buffalo Center, or Fillmore. Petition. Around this place, so it's easy. That's private drainage system.
That's tax.
My grandpa helped record deed. With the stuff that goes to the recorder's office.
That won't be,
Documented.
yeah, that'll be
They never should.
It's true.
because that's not gonna be put towards the end.
Right, that's happening, so.
Okay, where is it gonna be?
I guess I'll be a part of help.
The document.
Right. You know,
Right.
if they didn't have it, you
Yeah.
know, then.
So they just petitioned.
And another thought is,
Well,
we
that's
haven't
turns
got
out.
any money from winter yet in the county.
119, well, for
Supposedly,
110
you're
years.
supposed to get, you know, money eventually from that, here in the next few years. Yeah. Yeah, so, but all that property tax.
You have to pay. So once that's revealed,
Abatement.
private district.
If the county is willing to do that, you know,
Yeah,
it,
bring that back.
it cover that difference.
That's it.
Nobody's going back like that.
Right.
Where you would go.
So it would be nice to
So
put that back.
it will just go in the forward drain, and tax like everybody else.
I don't know. Yeah.
That's the issue. with that one.
Hi, how are you?
What's your issue, Brian?
Deal north of Ledyard. DDA 2. It's on the agenda at 10 o'clock. That's about all they do is drainage anymore.
That's what I retired out.
What north of?
It was the one
Yeah,
that we went
yeah.
into all got started, because we're Teresa planted on the planet, so I thought by,
Yeah, oh, yeah. Oh,
there's been waters.
not real matters.
Yes.
Can't go here, right?
That they started. Those guys.
They don't have that. Just doing. So that was a private grant, or it is now? I got, I can plan.
Did they just, it's,
All sorts of different. Does that go? Maybe 36 inch.
Well, when they look at it, the parent gets it.
No,
I think this one is, I don't know.
it doesn't go more, it's more basic.
No, I think, then there's that.
Yeah, and that's.
Hold on, Edward Jones. That, there's none.
Well, they just signed.
They did do that.
I know this because I'm on the waste
But
management
this one here.
committee for the county meeting, that's my job with the council for very. But, they just renewed their 5-year contract, the county did.
Yeah.
Mills.
It's because.
They could have gone out, they were not presenting the.
Well, that big conversation about these guys.
They did not go after it, they did not look into other options.
And they put a price on that. 20 years ago, these were assessed. You need two bids. Well, right, and these guys, yeah,
One big.
we're gonna do that, we're gonna figure it out. It's our money. Last.
Just spinning, still blows, walking, check that drainage. They go up. It's they do that.
I just read more. Right. So you get it picked on, go out.
Oh, no, I mean.
Nothing against Custer, if you call and have him do it, then they. Oh, yeah, some. And then
You know, because you could.
But yeah, so then.
August 30.
Yeah, 82 is a big one. Big one.
And then, you know, it's just.
Second largest one in the county. I
Why
think.
don't you do it?
Well, that's effectively what we had. But they won't function, the rest of them won't function. You know me, and I know that around 3,000, we have meetings, let's go. I got 37% of the vote, you've got 27% of the vote, and I have the paperwork. Let's quick move here. $300,000 project. Yeah. We got $50,000. Gotta have outlets. No. What copy? So, I stand, it's like, otherwise, you can't put a cork in. I threat this. Put it in the ditch, let it run. It's gonna go under, over, one way or the other. Cause of, you got 20, 30.
So now you're trying to do it like, like, on the tree. There's like 5 farmers. That's the.
If yours is set up that way, perfect, see, ours isn't. It wasn't organized that way. Nobody, how do you collect money, nobody's in charge, you guys are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause they just got done taking all those trees out by Bobber's. They moved all those trees out of that thing.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and he handled it fine.
This is all now, for down to the third generation.
And you're not gonna pay it. Sure, but that's why you got.
I got $16,000. Just here. Get them out, there goes.
I gotta go.
Sure, I gotta go.
Everybody's trying to get out.
Oh, the check.
Bring it up here, let's take a look at it. See what's going on. I'll bring it up to your check.
There's always that time crunch.
But I think all of this trade is so fun. It's just gonna get to be here.
Oh, you've been out there with me. My grandma's. I think you do everything. All you do is walk across it. We wanted it every day. Yeah, you're crushing it, you know. But we did. I would crumble. And it would, it's pretty similar, like 100 yards. No problem. This.
Ready for this?
Ready we're gonna be. Too late now.
Ready or not?
Lives there, talking to the last night. I went over there. He lives, you know, they're all trying to get good neighbors.
That's where he's been for a long time.
The way I think are. Unless something changed in the last few months.
Oh, no.
They're,
We were all talking about it.
they signed that agreement and saying that we're not gonna have city overflicker and everything else. Like, if say the original did exceed 30-minute outcome flicker thing that's in the ordinance. In our county ordinance. 30 minutes. They still protects it under the law, like if the county comes with, say, hey, this is an issue that landowners having. Even though they can't sue the company, can the county? That's why they're debating, like, do we take the money or?
We don't have any payment right now. There's no enforcement, right? There's no penalties, nothing. So the only thing we can do is like talk to them and say, hey, this is an issue, but there's nothing.
Okay.
So.
That's what, like, say there was 45 minutes of it, like,
There was one issue down in that area already that it did exceed the ordinance. We had them take recordings of it to prove that.
But anyway,
But they basically had to prove what actually was happening, because they were getting two different turbines at the same time.
well,
That's what exceeded the threshold. But then we talked to our attorney that worked on it and kind of gave them permission to talk to them as well, and coordinate things around.
steel roof.
I think they came to some sort of agreement after that, but
All
they
the
also
farmers
did not sign the good neighbor agreement. That I am sure of that. So
and then
if they sign the agreement, they're probably not gonna get much. And of any,
the flames,
they had issues.
Even though the county has an ordinance. I don't know who got.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's numbered on a piece of paper, but there's nothing.
Yes, I understand.
We can tell them, we can't send nothing, we can. I don't know. I mean, they don't
Big
really.
release would be rather. The second I think, the second I compare the second. Right.
If you break the law, we'll then go on.
Yeah. Yeah. Be a mile north.
I wasn't for that.
On the hill in
We
the
can
backyard.
lower the meg.
Literally in his backyard. Those big melts, the biggest one. Melts.
Well, two of the projects were the part of the band. One of the
Well,
projects was already.
you drive by and you go, oh, look,
The other was
Cause it's not the worst, not this is the previous. One, the one that's lead yard. Started first, but they didn't get to construction. So. They were all three kind of.
Whether these people sign or not.
I mean, it's up to them, and I would.
That's why they're asking my opinion on,
That's not a thing.
I mean, they're asking my opinion, what should we do?
I would give you a copy of the current ordinance.
I did.
This is your choice. To make. They should have their own.
But she was always very
On that. Nice suggestion.
I have one more thing.
On the day. When you go home, pretty little fans you look at.
They're not in here yet, but they should move some snow around.
All right, very good. All right, very good, yeah. Yeah. Did she send an email or anything like that, or explaining it, or? Whatever. Oh, yeah, we'll talk about it. Very good, just thanks.
You haven't done it.
Do the right
She'd have to wait till
That's
she.
why.
She's 18 now. Turned 18 Sunday. I don't
You
know.
straightened him out yet?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bob's still getting along good. Bob's still doing it.
They should be home.
Oh, yeah.
Or.
Is he gonna be done working now? Think you won't go back?
Yes.
He might try.
Make it happen. Let's go. That's what I recommend.
Yes. Martin, you got some repair requests?
Yeah.
Doug's
Doug's got some.
I forgot one thing and probably the most important. I asked the board to consider, increasing some wages for employees in the secondary road department. I'm finding difficulty. I've been trying to find a mechanic for quite some time. And the, wages that we're offering, sometimes when you offer a person that's qualified, that's one of the reasons they're turning us down. We also have quite a few openings right now on exit interviews, the last half dozen exit interviews. Employees have stated that they thought the wages were a little low. Operators are needed in order to run the equipment, mechanics are needed to repair the equipment. I would just ask the board to look into possibility of doing, I know you did, 6 months ago, 8 months ago, whatever it was, and it was appreciated, but if you would again, look at that. You have some questions as far as comparables to other counties. I can certainly, we have a salary survey tool, provide information to you, like it, compare with other counties and what other operators are getting benefits as well. I know that, I believe anyway, I think there's gonna be negotiations that'll probably get brought up then as well.
When do we start? Is that coming up this next year or is it a year away yet?
It would be for next July 1, of
I mean,
2023.
The negotiations, do they start?
They'll be starting, I would assume we will receive the collective bargaining unit's proposal sometime. Shortly. Anyway, thank you.
Have you looked into potentially cross-training any of our other employees? Like some of the ones that are territory operators right now, to get some of them trained as mechanics?
Well, they do some mechanic work. It's more of a, they have to replace, different. Right now, there, for example, there was a def heater went bad on one of the trucks. And that can't be done. The shop's gotta be done down at the, mechanic shop. We've talked about it, and there's been times where some guys go in and help the mechanics. However, right now, we 4 employees down and a person in the mechanic shop down. It makes it, if a person that doesn't have the knowledge and the abilities, it's gonna take a mechanic to watch him, and then he's not doing his work. That'd be a difficult situation.
Yeah, which I get that. I mean, I just know my own personal stuff and whatever. Sometimes the second set of hands can make the job go that much faster. And not everyone has to have 100% training on everything, but turning a wrench, doing oil changes, changing hydraulic hoses, some of that stuff, I mean, could potentially save our other mechanics
The-
time if.
The
we had-
operators are responsible for those types of things.
Okay.
And it's not uncommon for operators to bring hoses down to a shop and get them made and put back on.
Yeah.
So, some of that stuff is happening.
Anything else, Doug?
No, thank you very
Do you
much.
want to put it on the agenda sometime and write us some information on what other counties are doing?
Good.
I think to be helpful. Thank you.
Good.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Mark?
Just.
Like Christmas is coming early.
Will be done.
Still a long reach here. Weitzel's got a long reach.
3 of them.
Got a couple, 3 of them. Third PS has to run one. When are you gonna get to do yours, Roger? Cause this will get the same guy, cause we got hams. They gotta have a long reach.
Get right over to it.
Especially mine, cause I'm trapping them beavers there. You ain't gonna reach with a regular hole.
Yeah,
No, it's down in there.
I'll get Reitzel. Mr. Stecker, you had some requests?
Yeah, I got a couple here. Number 55 is here in section 30, wash out along the bank, looks like Dean Gale House. 56, Robert Price, Lincoln 32, paint tile, washout. 62, Harv Heidecker, Lincoln 20. Big hole in the middle of the field, so probably a washout on tile there.
I don't understand how they're finding them in the whole ring.
Hasn't been much.
Let Marge know who you're gonna have do that.
Yeah.
Mr. Casey,
Maybe at number 60, in Prairie, Dana Armistead. I'm trapping them right now, so they can wait a week. Try to be a week out anyway.
yeah, it'll be a week.
And, it's 'cause like I said, they need a long reach. They ain't gonna touch it otherwise. Otherwise, they'll just knock the side out and then they're gonna do that. So,
I got 4 here. It's one's in try 84. Request number is 57. I'll let Reitzel take the beaver dams out. Then I have another one, number 58. It's by Fenton. And there's like 4 little beaver dams all in a row. Have Reitzel take those out. Number 59. Bill Grange net, broken tile. In Plum Creek. find somebody else.
You got anybody getting in there getting a beaver?
Yeah,
So you take the dam out of it. Well, this time of year, if the water all goes away, they'll die. But,
no, I got somebody supposed to be trapping them.
say otherwise that harms kids up that area.
Yeah, he's trapping the ones by Big Six. That's on a private right away. The state got after me to find somebody, Bill Birdie. I got a broken tile in Gary Yukins. It's about the third time it was broke in the same area. It's in a waterway, not enough cover on it. Give it to Brant, and I will talk to Brant and see if we can longer section of pipe. Make it more permanent.
Move the supervisors take care of their requests.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Motion by Plath, second by Lost. Supervisors do their request. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried unanimous. Anything else, Mark, on repairs? If not, we will go to voluntary
Gotta
annexation.
wait till-
Oh, we will, but we will wait 12 minutes, won't we? It is a good one.
We'll take these home.
But Kyle, I'm not so sure that one at Dean Gill houses that we didn't fix not that long ago too.
Be Hebron 30,
Yeah,
okay,
there's some issues up there with
on
that.
the bank.
Yeah. You might want to take a look,
Yeah, I'll.
see if we can fix it better,
Okay.
more permanent.
We'll get some hoax loads.
On that, that's on 82.
Yeah.
Would that have been done with the project? Was that project on 82 on a lateral? That's
We didn't go, we didn't go that far in cleaning the main, but yeah. We did clean part of the main on 82.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
What's that?
Potentially, but. Anybody like a paper copy of the report for the hearing at 10?
Beans that they wouldn't let me start early.
Right.
Yeah. We could say, well, you and Mark. Joining that meeting too. Yes.
Wouldn't want anything overhead, or I think everybody's got a copy of the. I don't think report now.
Well, yeah, if everyone's got favorite copy.
Okay.
Should be good.
I can just address anything I would put up would be the
Get the high.
figures in the report anyways.
When's the last time this thing was reclassified?
I don't think ever.
That's what I was, that's not the answer I wanted, but that was the answer I expected.
I don't think ever, and actually, I can get into that during the hearing too. I don't wanna.
No, I
Spoil anything on it, but, it's awfully it's all
Convoluted.
over the place, and
Yeah,
so in our efforts to classify it, we did the best we could to match the area that it's in, but yeah, there's holes all over it.
yeah,
It's-
so I didn't think all the acres are even in it that should be in it.
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah, this is not the only area this is the only one we were assigned to look at.
Right, but there's more areas that are taking advantage of it that are not paying.
Right, yeah.
That's
which, you know, isn't,
That's not unusual.
right, that's not rare.
That's all right. That one.
Certainly lends credence to the request,
You said go.
but,
Skill.
yes,
Had you take care of that problem for me last week?
the,
DD four and tubes?
yes, yeah, yeah, well, that's,
So thank you for taking care of that.
you bet, yeah.
Cause the guy you wanted to get that groundwork before she got tight.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
you bet.
That much frost yesterday.
What?
I was just out ripping,
It's rotten, but there's frost.
the night before it snowed, so what was it? Yesterday, Sunday afternoon, evening. Was blowing up chunks for nothing.
No, there is not. But that's where we were digging. There is no snow cover.
Well, there wasn't at that time either, that was being ground here.
Yeah.
I anticipated chunk.
The big ground just exploded.
What's that?
My big ground just exploded this year, working out.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's right in here. This is the county.
Is on the counties in? Land on the Highline wires.
That's, it's the corner tree, there's the.
That where Eagles Nest is?
Yeah, the Eagles Nest right here.
I'm gonna get in there.
So that's what's going over here. This is,
They're coming out of the river. You can see the trail coming right out of the river.
I got it.
Unless he thinks that boom is the creek.
cut right there.
There's no river. Off of theirs, no, that's up there's old 18, ain't it?
Yeah.
And he said they're coming out of the river, you can see the trail. Oh, that's, well, no, it is a river, Boone River. It is, or is it Boone Creek? Boone River.
So it's under H&H Trust.
Yeah, I think if we have time, then we can have to kind of get it done. Yes. It's talking with anything that it's really the matter of either we push it, this blows a little straight on ground. Or we gamble and lost the weather, you know. It was one of the two was going to have to happen.
Right.
So, you know, either way, someone was gonna be
Well,
a little unhappy with how it was done, but
I'm supposed to get two of them? Oh. Maybe I'm supposed to get one.
No, it's 3 pages.
You got your own. You got your own.
I could still use it about twice. Hey, that would be cool. I don't think it would be the number.
Oh, sure. Tell them to hold off 10 days, probably be better, so they scrap them. Otherwise, they're not gonna be able to get them scrapped.
I do not.
I think it's button.
Yeah.
There's a button on your way out, right?
Yes.
Brand doesn't. I had this fancy thing, used it so many times.
And I'll get you thinking. Getting all that. Based on would be good. And that's what we're addressing and, you know. Parcels. That area. So, and on the earlier.
Preference. Take shot. Oh, that was a good kid. Thinking later. Kid calling, you know. Yay.
Yeah.
That's just all
They
based
need
off of
somebody under, right?
color coded elevation.
Also, 10-year-old lines.
I mean, very much so, yeah, it's,
There's just that much of a shortage on these mechanics, because even all these implement dealers, they just can't find work.
Specialized field, you got, it's like, you know what you're doing.
The kid down the road, he's a crop foreman, he's second command, he just started a year ago, he didn't look at it, hands on, they call him that way.
Really?
They said we teach them what we want them to know on this,
Yeah.
this. Kid mechanics.
Are you ready, Tyler?
yes, yep.
We got 1 minute. $21,847 acres in Drain 82.
Sounds about right.
Wow. I
Yeah,
didn't think it was like-
it's a big one, it's
Yeah.
a lot of acres, a lot of ditch miles, so.
Takes a long time. Looking at it.
Watch pot number boils.
Yep. The clock keeps ticking.
There you go.
It's 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock, all right. Morning all, I'm Tyler Conley with Bolton and May, a professional engineer that was appointed by the board to investigate a voluntary annexation request that was made into drainage district number 82.
We need to open the hearing, but
Oh, yeah, perfect.
do I have a motion to open the hearing on DD 82?
So moved.
Motion by Stecker. I'll second that motion. All those in favor say aye. Sorry, got the roll call. Sorry.
Stecker,
Yes.
Casey,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Jerk.
Yes. Now we're
Sorry,
ready to
I'm
do that.
so excited about drainage.
You are.
So, yes, review of a, voluntary annexation of drainage district number 82. I believe everyone has a report. We'll go through that here. But anytime there's any questions, comments, anything you'd like me to address any further, just go ahead and let me know. So to start, there's a summary page here on the report. This was for a review of one particular area of request for drainage district 82. This was not a review of the district at large or any annexation or reclassification. It's just specific to the voluntary requested area. This is both an annexation and a classification to match the the best that we could, myself and the two commissioners, Kent Rhodey and Rich Rosenmeyer, to match the existing assessment schedule. That annexation area and the proposed classifications are what are shown in the first two tabulations. Ultimately, that is what the findings are. That is based off of the information shown on the maps attached thereafter. The first being a locations map where the area of request is circled in red. This shows the whole district in blue with the current assessed parcels being ringed in the dotted black line. So as it's displayed on here, this area is very clearly out of the district. As on the next page then, we have what is the color-coded BEM. This is a digital elevation model. It represents relief from the high areas to the low areas. Highs, the highest highs are your bright reds. The low lows are the deep dark blues. Everything in between that, the yellows, all just depicts the relief through the district. The green lines is both the open ditch of Drainage District 82 and also the facilities of the consent drain agreement that is attached at the very back of the report. Those are the last 4 pages or so. What this digital elevation model is in more detail is it is every square meter of area. The state flew, there's equipment, they fly the state, they shoot a laser to the ground, they record the amount of time that that laser takes to bounce back to the plane. That gives them elevation data for there's a point for every square meter of ground. So every 3 foot by 3 foot, that is what this color, it's broken down to that level of detail. With then the consent drain facilities in there, we run a water model that takes and it compares every square meter to every square meter around that, and so on and so forth, all the way out until it builds that red watershed boundary that you see on here. So that is, in essence, when water falls on here, how the water via surface gets to those facilities and then gets that consent drain and then gets to the open ditch of Drainage District number 82. That would cover the annexation portion of the report. In essence, the question is that land benefiting from a facility of 82? My answer to that is yes, based on the consent drain and agreement. That tile line is draining water to the open ditch of Drainage District 82. Therefore, they are receiving benefit from that facility's existence.
Got a question.
Okay.
Why that you're talking about that drainage ditch that is a private tile, right?
Well, in essence, it's a private tile, yes.
Why, after all that tile was probably put in the 50s, 60s, 70s, why now are we annexing it in? I mean, why wasn't it done back then?
Well, likely because it was never brought to anyone's, or importantly, wasn't brought to the board's attention.
The short answer is it should have been.
Right, since that tiling has been put in, it should have been part of the district. In essence, that area has been receiving free benefit from the district in the event of any sort of clean out or repair project. These areas haven't been included and haven't been paying.
Okay, I got another question then. In that private tile there that drains into your ditch on 80 and 82,
Mhm.
has there been any repairs done in that other district then on that?
You mean on?
Repairs on the tile line, you're saying, or repairs in?
Like going into the creek there, where the tile goes into the creek, has there been any repairs done there?
That, I don't, as far as any work on that tile line, that I'm not sure of.
Because I know there's been blowouts and stuff on that private tile line. And, I'm kind of speaking for Scott Bloom, my wife Corinne Bloom, and, we pay for that ourselves.
Okay, and that would fall in line with protocol if it's since it's a private tile, it's managed under a consent drain. It would be the responsibility of those on that agreement to resolve the matters of payment. This is not a matter of making that a district facility. It's a matter of recognizing that that private tiling is using the ditch of 82.
Because I know Childresses are complaining, some of their ground has a private tile that drains into this, our private tile, I should say. And there's not enough fall in there to get the water away quick enough. That tile is laying so flat. And I guess I've never seen how much water comes out of the end of that tile.
And I would imagine that you're spot on. It's probably very flat, an ancient tile, like you say, put it in the 50s. If it's blowing out, that's indicative of both age and capacity.
But we're not annexing the tile
Right,
in the
no,
district.
the tile isn't becoming a facility. It will remain under that consent agreement until such time that
What,
an improvement.
then back to my first, why are we getting annexed into this now? I mean, yeah, we've been using that for X amount of number of years, but why do it now? What's the benefit of whoever brought this?
The benefit would be if that tile is undersized and it's blowing out, and there's a desire for an improvement, or even a repair, or to get a tile through there that isn't reliant on a consent agreement, that falls under the actual drainage code. This would grant those landowners the opportunity to partake in district proceedings.
Is most of that tile goes through the Bloom ground and the Alberta Trust, the Alberta Bush ground. And, neither one of us, Blooms for sure, they're getting at the age, if they're out getting 60 and above. They have no intention of redoing that tile. Or the Bushes are not in favor of it either.
Okay.
And I think, did the Childresses bring this up to get this annexed in?
I believe, well, I guess I didn't include the petition, but.
Why,
That's the reason, we're ready to tile, but you're not ready to fix it.
so you're gonna run your own tile?
Do whatever it takes to make sure we're.
Because we're not having anything done on our ground.
Correct.
So,
But that is a separate issue from today.
yeah.
Any sort of district proceedings or additional tiling talks would come after today. But for those to be held as part of a district hearing, this would have to happen, this would have to occur first.
So what, then, we're here in this 160 acres here in this corner. That District 82 goes 3 townships over. So we're gonna end up paying for work that's done 3 townships over then.
Only on it would only be pertinent to the main open ditch. Well, if there are additional schedules for the district.
Now, that big tile that was put in, north of, I think this place,
your folks in place there. We would be getting assessed for, if this was done back then, that we would be getting assessed for that big time.
You would have, yeah,
And that has no benefit to us.
and that's, you're hitting on what is a really good argument for the overall reclassification of Drainage District 82. That's not what I was, appointed to look at, but in getting into the assessment schedule, current assessment schedule and the assessment of benefits on this district, there is a good argument for, one of the biggest signs of inequity is right what you hit on, is that landowners are paying for repairs or improvements on facilities that they do not benefit from. In the drainage code, if an improvement project is done, reclassification, at least of that facility, is required.
So too they of us. What we pay for a ways away, they pay for.
Correct.
It's not like we're paying farthest away.
And they don't
No,
pay for,
right.
exactly, under the way that it currently sits. If there were any sort of improvement project done in this area, it would require its own reclassification. It would then have its own schedule, the rest of the district pay for that. Oftentimes at that time, because it's all just, it's why, majority computer-based, it's sometimes considered to just do the whole district and give every facility its own schedule. But again, that's outside of what today is. That would have to be a separate.
We have the same issue in Gilbert. All of what we own and much of what we bought in '82. And we were associated with a big project. We benefit a little bit, but it's the little bit and a lot is come up, made possible with computer modeling. So
Right, and there's,
it isn't an equal assessment. It's based on elevations and stuff.
It's based on your benefit.
Yeah. But we have to stay, way down south of Buffalo Center, everybody's paying for the big project.
ultimately, like I said, this is all with respect to the, open ditch. Any large tile improvement project should come with a reclassification. I can't speak to any repairs. Those can be done and left under the same schedule unless the board is convinced that there's inequities in the existing schedule, then they can motion for reclassification. So that is to say, all of your arguments and all of your concerns are valid. But it doesn't change the fact that these areas are benefiting from the main open ditch and they've been called to the attention of the board as being benefited for the request for the rights of the drainage district. It's a sharing of the right.
So, okay, well, one thing. So we're getting this annexed into 82, or whatever you want to call it, just so Tilges's can run a tile to that ditch.
But you can as well.
What the owners,
We've got a tile there already, and there's not enough fall. On our ground, there's not enough
Some of the
fall.
concept of public drainage like 101. Private didn't work, right? The private agreement didn't work.
No,
This gives us some opportunity. We've got to get real water.
what the annexed parcels do with
You-
their rights.
excuse me, you're talking, you had what, 2 acres that grounded out? So you're gonna do all this for 2 acres?
Not ground, that's not. We're after all the places where you 130 bushel corn, you should have had, 250 bushel. All those places. There's a lot of them. The water table's too high. Level out. Process is about, I don't think we need to explain why we want the tile.
Try now, it's personally like.
Yeah, and you were told that we're not gonna.
Not just you.
Well, you technically, you can't put a big main tile into a open ditch that you're not assessed into.
Yeah, and that's why I said this really should have been brought into the district when that tile was put in.
Even if it was
because-
done privately,
Yep.
it should still, it would benefit from the district and should be brought in
Right.
at that time.
How do you know back then that Bud Blue, Joe Engelbritson, or whoever else was on here, you know, they're all deceased now, didn't pay the county to do that?
Well, they didn't get permission. It isn't paying the county, that those acres were never annexed into DD 82, and they should have been if
Yeah.
you're gonna receive benefit. That's-
There's a process for that, and if it had been followed, it would be in the records and it would be in the district. So that's the short and simple answer to your question.
It has nothing to do with county tile, this meeting.
No,
It has everything to
this is
do
not a
with,
county tile.
yeah, whoever gets benefit from DD 82.
And it's our responsibility as trustees to make sure everyone within the district is treated fairly, and currently that's not the case, so that's part of the reason for this.
Why those acres got left out of the drainage district, who knows?
So now are you gonna change your drainage district map soon to include?
Well,
So you'll make that 82 bigger yet?
yes, it will be.
My wife keeps kicking me, I should shut up. So
No, don't. Keep asking questions. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, and that's the purpose of this meeting, is to
No,
answer those questions.
Our taxes higher, it's 82 than where we're at now?
Now,
Currently,
you
you're
mean your
not
land
paying
taxes?
anything.
Oh, I don't know, we're paying taxes, where was that, 55 or whatever that, our drainage area now?
Are you talking the other direction?
Yeah, you're talking the assessment into 55, that'll not change.
So yeah, those would be two separate things. They'd still be divided with that boundary. So some of your acres would pay for going south, some would pay for going north. Currently, the ones that are draining to the north aren't paying for any drainage tax. And that's all dependent on any work that's.
I was gonna say,
So,
by
if
drainage
nothing-
tax, you mean if there's no assessment, there is no.
If nothing's happened for the last 10 years, there still would be nothing, but if something does happen, then you share a portion of that bill.
We got 110 years of free outlet, so 1913, so which is still good.
It's not unusual to have that happen,
Right.
but we are cleaning some of them up throughout the county.
But that's essentially, yeah, what it comes down to is that these get cleaned up as they come to light and.
Yeah.
It's. Nobody's ever really happy with them, but it's the right procedure and it's the right process to go through. Finishing up on the report here from the classification of those acres. Because it wasn't a full reclassification of benefits that go through the new, process of factors and area. What myself and the commissioners did was we tried to, based on like parcels in that area, assess a wetness and a proximity factor, so how close you were to the ditch and what your overall soils wetness types were compared to parcels that were already in the district. What that created was the classifications that are color coded on the map. The highest classifications show up in red, the lowest classifications district-wide show up in green. On the blow up of that area, you can see that those that are closer to the ditch of 82 have slightly more yellow-green, and as it goes farther away and the acres get smaller, you get a deeper, darker green, meaning a less classification. The classification can be a confusing statistic, but it's something that the code requires that you assess to lands. Classification is not the percent of project benefit. It is the percent compared to the highest percent of benefit. The 100% class obviously does not have 100% of your project, any sort of project dollar cost. They simply pay the most of that, bill, and everyone else pays that percentage of what the 100% classification was responsible for. So it's a rather confusing distinct, like I said, or requirement, but it is what the code requires it given to all of the benefited lands.
So I think they would like to know how your engineering fees are gonna be spread through the acres.
It would be my recommendation that because this area should have always been in, and it's a benefit to the district at large, I feel it should be a district expense. Ultimately, the board's decision. But it's not a specific request, it's not piling across a boundary.
Right.
It's something that should have always been in, and I don't feel that the landowners for bringing it to light should be overly punished in the cost of my thoughts.
I agree with you. Does anybody have a disagreement with that?
No, it should be a district expense in my opinion, because it's a benefit to the district and it should have been a district responsibility all along.
I agree with that, but I wanna make it clear to the
Okay.
people sitting here.
What are your charges to do this?
I don't know, do you have what? I don't know
Do
what.
you have a rough estimate? I mean,
It's-
are we talking tens of thousands?
No, it would, I think the original thought was $7,500 or something like that for it's just time and materials. All of my time is in, it follows the code. We can't work for any like lump sum amounts or anything like that as drainage engineers. It has to just be, track the time and what I have into it.
25 cents an acre for the whole district.
If that's what it was essentially, yeah. And that would be another nicety of spreading it over that amount of acres, not that that is the justification for doing it that way, because again, it's a benefit to the whole district, not just to these landowners. But it's relatively small when considered over the whole acres of the district. But as far as the actual number, I don't have, I could look through our accounting system and find that, but I don't have that number.
Are there any other questions?
I got one more. Say we decided to put a new tile in there. Do we have to get the okay with the vote count or the supervisors,
Not for
you
private,
guys to do that?
not for private.
No,
No,
you're okay is
But
okay.
if we're gonna put a new tile into that open ditch.
Right.
We gotta get it okay with you.
No.
No, now that you're in the district, you don't.
Well, we have to approve this, so after today.
Yeah.
That would be a change, but what this does is it gives you the ability to drain into the district legally. And you could still do a private tile if that was your choice, but it gives that access, so to speak.
That's a
fair
fair
tile.
point. Can we just talk at the topic that we've been learning here? If and when we want to improve greatly, which is going to be something we want, what's the steps involved there?
So it would be,
Just so we all.
it would be similar to the process for what we're doing today. A petition would be, filled out, filed by a landowner. And then it'd be our responsibility to go through the process as far as appointing an engineer, they do their work, you'd come to the hearings and just kind of flow through the process that way.
To elaborate on the answer to your question, of getting permission, as far as any private tiling is concerned, no, you have the full beneficial use of the open ditch. As far as any shared involvement from other landowners, that is what Kyle's talking about, that would require a petition. And then, like you said, the process of going through an engineer, that goes through to a report stage. There's separate notification and a separate hearing process for all of that. Also, for any sort of improvement, any sort of tile improvement, there's also a process known as remonstrance, which is in the event of a recommendation for improvement, if a majority of the landowners by count owning 70% of the land area, if that, so both those two things have to be met. If they object, the improvement project is halted right in its place. Repair projects don't fall under the right of remonstrance, but there is no district facility here to repair. So that wouldn't be applicable in this case. So those are the two scenarios for private tiling. No, you're just to your own. Like I said, you have full beneficial use or the petition project process.
The wetlands law still applies, and I don't know, there's a portion up there that looks a little wet that you better.
Yes, that you're getting more into the specifics of any sort of improvement
Well, even
project.
private,
What's that?
even private tile.
Well, you're right, yeah, of any conversion of certified wetlands is a big no-no in the NRCS's eyes.
Any existing tile laying there, the big tiles you marked in there, the green ones,
Mhm.
those will not be considered county tiles.
Correct.
Those are considered still.
Those are still, yep, correct.
Get your wetland determination before you put plow on the ground. Anything else? If not, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
By Stecker, do I have a second? I'll second, or Platt. Motion and a second, you can do a roll call vote, please.
Stecker,
Yes.
Casey,
Yes.
Loss,
Yes.
Plath,
Yes.
Jerks.
Yes. Next, we have a decision to make on voluntary annexation of acres into DD 82. I would need that motion.
Your recommendation as far as language on wording it to accept the report as presented.
Yes, for the annexation and then,
And classification,
and I think that would
maybe separate.
change them as separate annexation first,
Yeah.
because you can't classify without the annexation. Accepting the report and annexing the ground in the first motion.
I would move for that.
Your motion would be to accept
Accept the report
the
and
report and to annex the acres into DD 82. I have a motion by Stecker to accept the report and annex the acres into DD 82 presented by the report. Is there a second to that motion? Second by Plath. Discussion. Hearing none, do a roll call vote, please.
Stecker,
yes.
Casey,
Yes.
Loss,
Yes.
Plath,
Yes.
Jerks.
Yes. Motion carried. Anything else that you guys have on DD 82?
And then we need
Oh, that's right, we got a classification,
The
I forgot that.
classification as, accept the classification as presented in the report and add the values to the existing
Schedule
classification schedule.
of 82. So the motion would be to accept or to reclassify these acres as in the DD 82
Wouldn't be a reclassification,
No.
it's class.
classification as in the DD 82 report.
Yeah.
Schedule. I would make that motion.
I'll second that.
Got that down? Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Do a roll call vote.
Stecker,
Yes.
Casey,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Plath,
Yes,
Jerk.
Yes.
then you'll update our maps.
Yes, I will get that information to Luke, to be placed into the system.
Okay.
Yet today.
Okay.
I can't promise it'll get into the system today, but I can promise I'll get it to Luke.
Okay.
Okay. Phil, you got any more questions? None?
Well, there's a hospital across town if you need to get checked out.
Thank you all.
Yeah. Anybody else have any questions on DD 82 or any drainage issues? If not, thank you for coming in. We are up to discussion with our county auditor.
So, we're finished with our general election, which went pretty good. We did have to call law enforcement for a gentleman who went to the wrong precinct and was very upset about it. Sheriff's office responded before it got to the correct precinct. It was fine. So it all turned out good. The precinct election officials handled it very well. Did what they were supposed to do, and we were able to get law enforcement there, and everything was able to vote without any issues, and everything was handled well.
He was fine.
No, no, everything went fine.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, everything went. So, no, he was calmed down by the time, I think when he saw law enforcement. But, I helped, so, he was a little worried to put it all into that. So, tomorrow we do our audit. The state drew Cresco 1, so we'll be auditing Cresco 1 tomorrow at 9:00. Doing the governor, lieutenant governor race and public measure 1. So that's what will be audited tomorrow at 9:00. That's open to the public, so anybody can be that auditor. I've been talking to Elizabeth with Gardner and Thompson, getting ready for our next audits. She will probably be here in January. One thing we have to focus on this year is the new gas fee law, which talks about leases. So we have to now report any leases. It could be anything from copy machines, equipment, but we also have to report any farm leases. So Doug and I will be talking about that, so we can get that together. So as you probably noticed, Deb has been busy decorating outside and a little bit inside to get ready for the holidays. So she's spending a little bit of time doing that. Really good. And that's all I have, unless you have any questions about the.
If you want to.
Thanks to you and your office and all the workers for putting in long hours.
You're gonna tell them about the email to change the sway. So
Yeah, I did already. I already emailed him. Already told him to go ahead and fix it, so he's already. He already sent me an email back saying he did.
Taking your key. No.
Uh-oh. March, you get the two that didn't want to go to the drainage meeting in the second.
Yeah.
We got that down, and anything else?
There's only two that can I. Because Brittany just said she was going to.
You know, if Wright's will go around back one working yet or not?
But I don't know if they're working on it. They have all the list of people to do that, but I don't know if they're gonna. I can check with them.
Couple weeks had him call me again, and then I got hold of Wright, so he said he had the job that week in Hancock, then he was supposed to be moving there.
That, you asked a question about KK one.
Yeah.
Right, so, he contacted me a couple of days ago, he was moving Long Reach for that cattle crossing. So he was working on addressing the list of the work orders that he received.
I think it's about,
He said there was a handful of them,
and then there's a
didn't tell me
couple
an
of,
actual number, but.
there's a couple in Rogers area then too.
Yeah, you've got a couple cattle crossings to do and
Yeah, we were getting a detail to him for those and things like
he's
that.
got a new secretary now. You might wanna,
Yeah.
double check.
We have been informed of that. That's
yeah,
pretty seamless transition there
but
from our.
she's kinda green, so she needs a little explanation on everything that,
They've been pretty self-admitted of
Yep.
that, so that's.
yeah. I mean, it's not carefree like it used to be.
Yeah, essentially. I actually stuck around too, if you, for some project updates with the snow on 4. They were making some pretty good progress with the final cleanup and leveling and everything, and now you're talking frost moving in and the snow that we've got, and I don't want them out there making any big mess. We do have room in the FEMA, what is it?
We talked with Leon yesterday. He said
Cutoff.
The pop date for the state level and stuff is March 23rd, I believe. Sometime in middle to end of March. So he said we can't extend it that far, and he anticipates the state extending the pop date because of other projects he's involved in that definitely won't be done well into 24. So he expects a disaster timeframe to continue. Which is one of the reasons we had set the completion date on this as December 1st to have it done before the winter, but.
What we were up against was because we changed the side slopes from 1.5 to 2, there was a lot of spoil coming out. They worked well within their right of ways, and we didn't destroy an additional rows of crop. What that meant essentially was that if we waited till after harvest, we just had from end of October through till yesterday when it started snowing to really get a lot of that finalized. And that was kind of the gamble of when winter was gonna set in, to get it completed yet this year. I have my doubts. I've talked to McCarty about them submitting a formal request for extension. Just didn't want people to be caught off guard when that request came. Thoughts from anyone? And I can't say much, I know, because it's after the.
What about all the extra tubes up there? Are you gonna get reimbursed back to the drainage district?
No, that's not, they are only paid for the tubes that they install. Anything that's sitting,
Yeah,
Goes
that's,
back.
well, that, we haven't paid for it, period.
we haven't paid, the district hasn't paid on those tubes.
We won't get reimbursed because we haven't paid for them.
No, but we're gonna get stuck like pack one with the
No.
restocking fee.
No.
I know there's a lot of tubes up there.
Oh, yeah, no, the lay down yard, I've seen, they've got quite a bit sitting there, but no, that's not, won't be the same situation.
But I heard, people were talking up there that, Blumenthal's taking them all because he's got them piled up or somewhere, so it's like, no, it's the drainage district's tubes.
Well,
It's not even his, it's McCarthy pipe.
Right, I mean, McCarty could do with them what they want, they're the ones that have paid for it, the district hasn't. The district has not yet paid for them, because they have not yet provided us the logs to match with our logs with how many they've put in.
Yeah, you're only paid on install.
Right, so that's a brief update there. Also with the Goshi lawsuit that had been filed.
Which
we
I
were
asked,
named in it.
I asked Tammy about that earlier today, and she didn't know anything about it, but have any of you guys been served for lawsuit in the last 2 weeks?
It's your turn like you did last time.
Well, that's, I anticipated today, but I got an electronic notification. There's a almost 500-page lawsuit.
On what? This time,
We'd be talking till next week if I
Eight,
went over everything. that was
in short, it's on Drainage District 80 and DD 18.
And a lot of other things are mentioned,
Right.
decades back.
Our attorney through Bolton Mink had reached out to Jim Hudson. Figured that would be someone that you would consult with in the matter.
But if we haven't been served, the clock hasn't started to respond, so just be aware that.
nothing's come to them. Water.
It was, I think it was just, obviously, it's just been the electronic notice that
So far, yeah.
we have received.
We had an email forwarded to us that I didn't.
No, there was,
reply to
Tammy
with
sent
Joe.
some documents.
That's not it.
That's not it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tyler.
You do take a birthday?
Mr. Stecker, you got anything to report on?
No, Tyler kind of touched on it with, obviously there, but as I said, discussions with Leon, we have some ability to move that, so we'll have to go through the process on that, but otherwise, no committee report or no other board.
Casey.
Oh, I had some drainage stuff and, roads and people not getting treated the same and DD forum guy, got a hold of me that the tubes are still there and the guy wanted to work the ground, so I got hold of Tyler and the next day they were gone. He said he's having other problems up there too. With the-
Yeah.
So I got taken care of real quick. And
Donnie?
No committee meetings, just started to get some calls on the pipeline.
yeah, that's how many week?
Jack?
Just had a couple of phone calls. I talked about those earlier.
That's all I had was questions about the pipeline, questions about roads. On Doug's item with wages. Do some thinking.
Do the-
Negotiations to start.
I think
That's
we
what I
got
say, we can
and
negotiate.
those negotiations at this stage, things are so close. Talk about it when it gets put on the agenda.
Next week, we do have the patient hearing for Brain for Lat 20.
Anything else on the agenda?
I'm also gonna tell you the damages for crops and all
It should
Yeah.
be,
Damages and
Yeah,
negotiation
yeah.
report, yeah.
Just for lat 28 though.
yeah, Lat 20.
Yeah, that's the child project. Not the open ditch.
that. Not the open.
No, that's completely separate. Same district, but separate projects.
Anything else? If not, we are different.
Yeah. You gotta do,
Beavers.
you gotta do something before that.
It's gonna be cold Friday morning, so it's gonna be. No, we can. Sorry. And below wind chill talking. Yeah.
That's gonna vote.
I think that's something else. That I don't know right now. Recording. Just squeaky shoes.
If you walk in snow, you come to the building, your name shoes squeaking as the day.
Cause it's so clean.
My dirt's still there.
Recording.
I'll be stopping it here in a second.
And one second.